Hello and welcome to the Daily Grind here on Latte Firm. It is Monday, the 2nd of February, and we are on the eve of the second leg of the Carabao Cup, where it's advantage Arsenal at half-time thanks to our 3-2 win at Stamford Bridge in that first leg. A warm welcome. Hope you're all well. Hope you've had a great start to the week. What a feeling it is to be going into work and school and university and whatever it is that you choose to do, 6 points clear at the top of the Barclays. I'm delighted to be joined by good friend Adam Keys. Adam, welcome to the show. How the devil are you?
I'm very, very good. So full of confidence, still buzzing from Saturday. I was at the game, get my Jokeres mask out at Ellen Road. Yeah, I'm buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing.
I know you are. You were, of course, at the game, and you sent me a text saying as soon as Victor Gyökeres scored, all you could think of was just that.
Yeah, it was. I think we spoke in the summer about it, and you were saying about doing it from inside the ground, and I was like, yeah. The minute I did it, I thought, that's FK.
I love it. I love it. By the way, love the shirt. Love the shirt. Tonight we're going to talk about the Carabao Cup because obviously that is upon us tomorrow. Big game for Arteta, big game for Liam Rosenior. Going to look at the sort of starting line at the press conferences from both managers and get your thoughts on the occasion, all that sort of stuff. But before we kind of dive into that, what's your mood like around Arsenal? I mean, what's there not to like? You must be buzzing on cloud nine, just like me.
Yeah, really, really, really confident right now. And I think it was one of those, we needed one win. We needed to just overcome that hurdle. And it was just in the league. If you look at our form over the last 2 months, we've been so, so good. It was just those three games. And the Forest game in particular, we missed so many big chances in that game. And that was the Martinelli one, Jokeres had one. And it just felt like we just needed to get over the line. We needed to get that first win. That was an emphatic 4-0 win at Ellen Road because they had, I think, one defeat in 10 before that. They're one of the most informed sides in the league. They'd only lost twice at Ellen Road. They've only gone scoreless once there all season. So that was a big, big thumping win. And that's put us right back on track. And then for Spurs to do us a big favour, but not big enough to take them far enough away from the relegation zone. It was almost the perfect result.
It really was. I thought it was an emphatic performance. I thought it was a brilliant performance. And I was on the Loose Cannons podcast with Turkish and James and Jordan and the boys last night, my debut on there. Thank you, by the way, to the thousands of people who have watched that. And thank you so much for all the kind words in the chat. I've tried to respond to all of them. But we were talking about the performance. And James said to me that he wasn't massively impressed by that game, but just because we weren't sort of slicing them open and creating chance after chance. But I argued that actually a brilliant performance these days doesn't necessarily have to be that. A brilliant performance can be one of complete control, complete dominance. And like you say, Ad, we've gone to Leeds, who are in really good form since the 1st of December. Ever since Daniel Farke turned to a 4-4-2 formation, unbeaten, one defeat in 10. They've only lost 2 at home. I think it was a brilliant, brilliant performance for us. And 24 hours later, Manchester City dropping points, which was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Welcome to all of our channel members. Welcome to all of our Patreon members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really, really grateful. And thank you for being here. Dave says, evening Gooners. So he goes on to say, really looking forward to tomorrow's game. Will be thanks to FK and the benefits of being a Patreon member. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Charlie, I've got your message in the Patreon group. There's that one spare ticket, which I will try and transfer to you this evening. V Vlad says, good evening. Karen and Katz is here as well. What timing? Just finished with the Arscast and the Vision Pod. What a great company to keep. I'll take that. Paul James says, good evening. This could be an interesting game tomorrow. It will indeed. Melissa, welcome to the show. Good evening, Latte family. Christophe is here. Bonjour, my man. Evening, FK. Welcome, Adam. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate all of you guys. Keep the chat active. Wow, this is nice from Mike, my 2 favorite Arsenal YouTubers. Big live. There you go. How'd you get a lot of love in the chat? What's going on? You guys have come to see me, not Ad. I'm joking. Let's bring up the slides as we always do. And just first up, a very huge congratulations to the Arsenal women. I did a very insufferable and smug hate watch success video with Laura Kirk last night. And of course, the game had just finished and I didn't get time to make the slide. This is a great achievement for our women's team. FIFA Women's Champions Cup. They are champions of the world. And Arsene Wenger, Ad, was in the stadium giving out the trophies and the best player award to Frida Manum. I mean, it just got my juices flowing for thinking, what if the big man's there in May and it happens again?
Yeah, absolutely huge. And I mean, it's just great to see such a huge achievement. Absolutely incredible. The year that the Arsenal women have had. And it shows the club as a whole, just the direction that we're going in. So just incredible. And this is just insane. What they've achieved over the last 6 months, especially, is just monumental.
It really is a fantastic, phenomenal achievement by the women's team. And of course, hopefully, the men's team can back it all up with our own trophies. Thank you so much for the kind words. Do check it out, Loose Cannons, courtesy of Turkish, James and Jordan. Really good podcast. Was tremendous fun to be on it. And I'm so, so grateful for that opportunity. Harsh says Adam is one of the nicest and most logical men of Twitter. Kudos, and Papa Veng's getting a lot of love. Good evening to everybody tuning in. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Let's move on to what could be a very fun February ad before we talk about tomorrow's game, which is, of course, advertised on that right-hand side. It's a really interesting month for us because we are going strong, I guess, on 4 fronts. Top of the Premier League, 6 points clear. Top of the Champions League phase, and now into the knockouts round. And, looking forward to the sort of knockouts and see how they sort of fare. Into the Carabao second leg of this semi-final with the advantage at halftime. And of course, we've got Wigan at home in the FA Cup on the 15th of Feb. And then the North London derby, the icing on the cake. I mean, this is a potentially defining month for us.
It is. Tomorrow's huge. Let's be honest. It's the second leg of a semi-final of a cup that we want to win now, because that will set us up for a big run in. That confidence, medals in their pockets, and just that belief, that's going to be huge. And I think last year it did take the wind out of our sails a bit whenever we lost at Newcastle. But this year it feels like our year. Declan Rice has talked about winning. Saliba's talked a lot about winning trophies at Arsenal. And I just think the confidence will go up if we can win this competition. Sunderland, if they're 3-0 up, they beat Burnley 3-0, I think the final score was. From what I've seen, they didn't need to get out of second gear. But Xhaka's out of that game. That's a big loss for them. Brentford game, Shada's just been suspended, so he's going to miss that game as well. So, look, it's just a case of going out and getting results at the minute. And that's kind of where I stand. I don't care as much about how we play this season. It's more, we just need to get the win. And to your point about kind of slicing teams open and stuff, everyone's so compact and rigid and well organized and disciplined out of position. So for me, you're not going to see that this season unless it's a basketball game like we saw with Newcastle and Liverpool the other day. So it's a case of we'll get more freedom against Chelsea. They're going to come out and play. They don't have Esteval. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Hopefully, we're talking about a very nice victory tomorrow.
Let's hope so. Tony wants to see Alessia Russo in the men's team replacing Marino. Of course, that breaking news yesterday, Arsenal have known for a while because he picked up the injury after the United game. A fracture in his foot, reportedly 3 months of sort of recovery post-surgery time. This club statement yesterday saying that he's hopefully going to be back in training before the end of the season. It's a big loss for us. And no matter how anyone sort of tries to dress it up and say, look, Marino's not an outstanding player or a regular starter, the guy contributes and he comes clutch in really key moments. And he's been, I guess, the Spanish sort of army knife that Mikel Arteta has deployed in so many different situations and so many different positions. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a big loss because if you look, he's one of the first off the bench when he's not starting. He starts a lot of games as well. And that run when Gyökeres was out, he was crucial. And we actually scored the most number of open play goals when he was starting up front. He's the cover for Declan Rice. That's probably the thing that worries me the most. I know Marino's a clutch goal player, but we do have Havertz coming back. We've got Jesus back in the team. Gyökeres, your boy, is starting to score again. So I think that side we can maybe live without. But what I worry about is just the number of minutes that Declan Rice might have to play. And I do think it's time that Christian Norgard started getting more minutes because we can't have Rice and Zubimendi flogged every week.
I could not agree more about Christian Norgard. I think he's got a fabulous player. I think he's got a big role to play in the second half of the season. But just to finish the Marino point, the transfer window is shut. We've obviously added a couple of youngsters. There's a certain striker from Hearts and Jaden Dixon, a young centre-back who actually started off at Spurs, wears the number 41, went to Stoke, captained their under-19s at 17 years of age and has signed for Arsenal on a very nominal fee. 6'4", 6'3", 6'4" defender, young prospect, England international, which is great. But are you disappointed that we've not done anything just to kind of bolster the squad, given that Ethan Wanyeri has been loaned out and there's no recall on him, and given that Marino is likely now to miss the rest of the season?
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, to be honest. The Tonali story that came out this morning, and then obviously Ornstein had his bit to say. When that came out, that made me think we're not doing anything, because that was so far from getting an emergency signing in. That's a big money. That's a big ticket item there. But I just think there's so much quality in our squad. There's so much depth there. I struggle to see where a player fits in unless it's someone that we really, really want, and we were going to go for in the summer, and we're bringing that move forward. And the issue I've got with bringing in someone on loan, I think it's a World Cup year, so anyone that comes in wants to play. Arsenal don't have the spare minutes. Marino is a multifunctional squad player, and bringing someone in with that kind of intelligence and that versatility is going to be really, really difficult. So I didn't really see where we get someone. Ruben Neves was someone that people talked about on loan. I would have been fine with that. My only worry there would have been the guy's been playing in Saudi for what, 2 years now? How fit is he going to be to come in and play in the best out of possession team in world football right now, where there's high physical demands?
I was fantasizing last night with Laura about maybe we go out and smash the doors down at Palace and get like an Adam Wharton, or maybe we think about a summer transfer that we're going to make and just press the go button now. Every player in football would want to move to Arsenal because of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Any player would want to be part of this squad because they know and they can see that Arteta is taking them to hopefully a glorious ending to the season. So yes, I think there was potentially a slight opportunity missed, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I think we've got a great squad. Just a bit of a shame that obviously he's going to miss the rest of the season. And just on the Sandro Tonali links, I was tweeting this on the way home. I mean, look, obviously a really good player, one that would be a very useful addition to the squad, but I cannot believe the audacity of his team, his agents, to be offering him out to Arsenal when Newcastle paid so much money for him and they stood by him during his 10-month ban. And look at how they're acting. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's distasteful. I think it's absolutely out of order to Newcastle. And I think it's, frankly, I mean, that sort of behavior. Look, I know players don't owe clubs any loyalty, right? We're all employees at the end of the day. So they're all employees at the end of the day. But when a club stands by you during your moments of darkness, during your moments of fraud, you know, there is something there where the player and his camp need to basically act accordingly. You know, I'm really disappointed to see that story, and I can only imagine how Newcastle supporters feel. And I don't like to see that sort of thing in football, lad.
Yeah, it's a very strange one, but it kind of just sums up your point about how anyone would want to come to Arsenal right now. His agent's literally gone on his knees and said, "Come and take my client." So it's a strange one. I think he would be a great fit, but not necessarily the stature of a player I'd be expecting to see in January. I know Ornstein's article said that we didn't have the financial muscle to pull off that kind of a deal at this time. We spent big in the summer, and we're probably going to have another big summer because the squad will need a bit of change again. But bringing in Tonali now, it always felt a bit far fetched. But I agree with you. Newcastle did stand by him. I live in the Northeast, so I'm very connected to Newcastle fans. They have really gone off him recently. He's not been playing well, but there are mixed feelings up there. People don't like Eddie Howe right now. There's the other half of the fans that are very much like, look where he's taken us from. But they recruited so poorly in the summer. I think that some of their big players have maybe tapped out a bit. Livramento is another one who, again, might be a potential option for Arsenal, but who knows? But yeah, I agree with you. It's disappointing to see players behave that way, especially on deadline day during a midfield injury crisis for them, because we've been there. And I think that's the bit that will always give me a bit of sympathy. We've seen our players tap out whenever they've wanted to move to a club doing better. Ironically, Oxlade-Chamberlain was talked about today. He is someone who tapped out, and we saw him give up when he was trying to force a move to Liverpool and actually play against Liverpool and do that to us. So yeah, it's funny that those two stories came in the same day.
It is indeed. Listen, Newcastle just having their own sort of funk at the moment. Eddie Howe can't seem to buy a win, and their supporters are frustrated. And obviously, after losing Alex Isak in the summer, it's not looking good for them. But yeah, still, I just think there's a little bit of class that some players and some camps should remember. Right, let's move away from February because it's going to be a good month for us, hopefully. But next up, it is Arsenal against Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium in the second leg of the Carabao, and it is advantage Arsenal at half-time. If you remember the game at the Bridge, 3-2 winners in the end. Alejandro Garnacho scoring off the bench for Chelsea a couple of times. Defensive sort of haps from us, but from our perspective, attacking-wise, Victor Gyökeres was amongst the goals. Mikel Merino with a header, and Zubimendi with a glorious goal. How do you feel about this tie? What's your mood going into tomorrow night?
I'm confident. Chelsea are leaking goals at the minute. They are winning games, but they're leaking goals. And we have just scored 4. So I'm hoping that our goal scoring is going to come out again. We've been scoring goals in the Cups. We've scored 3 against Chelsea, 3 against Inter Milan. So I am confident. And I think there's a belief there and a determination to really go out and focus and not give this away.
Obviously, there's no away goals in this competition, and I think if it's level at full time, it goes to extra time. Well, obviously, doesn't it go to extra time, or does it go to pens?
Or straight to pen? I'm not sure.
Ooh, I'm not sure. Actually, chat. Let me know. Is tomorrow? Does it go to extra time because it's a semi-final? I don't know. But you know, we could have been clear after that sort of first leg. I think it felt. I remember saying in the match reaction, to me, it was like a 4-1 game that ended 3-2.
Yeah.
And I think if it was the other way round, Dad, where we'd ended it 3-2 winners at the Emirates and we were going to the Bridge, I think I'd be slightly more nervous. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I think our record at home is so strong, and we're coming in with just. I do think Saturday refocused the team. You could see it after the game. There was almost this belief that had come back into the players, or maybe a sense of just relief rather than belief. And the result was needed, but we have been doing it in cup competitions as well. I think it's gone unnoticed that we've only lost 3 games in all competitions this season. So we're an extremely strong team. We've been scoring goals. Chelsea are not a good defensive side. That's plain and simple. And they've lost Estevao, who is probably their best attacker. Although I would say João Pedro has gone massively underrated this season. He's gone a bit under the radar in terms of signings of the season because he's scoring goals and he's having a big impact on Chelsea.
Well, Estevao currently on compassionate leave by the club. He's had to go home. He's got some family stuff going on. Obviously, we wish him well. Liam Rosina is in his press conference, not really concluding one way or another as to whether it be too soon, but sort of openly saying that the club is strongly behind him and all of his family stuff. But like you say, Chelsea are conceding goals, but they are winning. So let's have a look at form guide. It's actually Arsenal that are a little bit bumpy. Our last 5 in all competitions, that draw to Forest, which of course was followed up from that Liverpool draw at the Emirates, which I thought we were really passive in. Went away to the San Siro, won handsomely there 3-1. Then, of course, the Manchester United defeat, which was so painful. But an unforced error and 2 absolute galazzos from United really taking the points off us. Then we bounced back with I thought, quite an uninspiring win against Kairat, but it was a cobbled together team and we saw some goodness from Kai Havertz. And then, of course, Leeds United on Saturday. Absolutely emphatic. And when you think about the Chelsea last 5 games in all competitions, comfortable home win to Brentford, not the toughest team against Paphos. I think Paphos were the only team that Kairat had a point against in the entire competition. They went away to Selhurst at Crystal Palace, which normally would be a very, very good result. But, of course, Crystal Palace being absolutely destroyed for all their players. An impressive win out in Napoli, 3-2. That was a really impressive win because they were behind in that game. And then the 3-2 comeback, which would have taken a lot out of them mentally, physically on Saturday. 3-2, Enzo Fernandez scoring deep into injury time to get them the 3 points. But the stats and the facts will say 5 wins out of 5 from Liam Rosina. And yes, they are conceding goals to your point, but they're in good form, Ad.
They are in good form. And Chelsea do have some good players. They also lost Gittins at the weekend. He went off in the first half with a hamstring injury. So he's another one that's going to be out. Palmer's back. Endo Fernandez is playing well at the minute. Caicedo's back for a while. He'll be banned again soon. But they do have some good players. Defensively, I think they're a team that can be got at, though. And I am just confident in our side. It's one of those where I see some of the quality of Chelsea's attackers, but I look at this quality of our team as a whole. I think this is a game that we have to go out and win. And I am confident that Gyökeres is going to start putting a bit of a run together now, because 4-6, that's a very impressive run of goals. And you also look at where they've come. He's got one against Milan, he's got one against Leeds. Some of these goals are impressive. So yeah, long may it continue.
What a goal in Milan it was. Just to finish, Liam Rosenior's press conference, he expects a really physical game against Arsenal. So he was saying that rest was key in this 3-game week. I'm not sure how much rest he can give, but that might indicate some rotation from the weekend. Like you say, Jamie Gittins did come off with a hamstring injury. Rosenior said he didn't know the extent of the injury. Hopefully it's not too bad, but it does mean he will be out for tomorrow. Philip Jorgensen, their goalkeeper, is likely to be fit and might return against Arsenal, although it could be Sanchez in goal. Esteval, we've already covered, away on compassionate leave. We talked about Arsenal being favourites for the second leg. You know, they're a goal up, they're at home, so they will expect to go through, and we just need to take it as far as we can. And then he talked about how some of his players might use their experience of winning big trophies. They won a couple of trophies last year, 1 or 2 have won World Cups and all that sort of stuff. And then he talked about his subs and how they've made such a big sort of impact and influence every time they've come off the bench. He, of course, does have a big squad at his disposal. If we move through the slide deck and move away from the form guide, let's talk about this thing. Did you see the compilation that went round after that first leg of Noni Madueke coming on and getting sort of, pushed and laughed at, and Enzo Fernandez, and I can't remember who it was, because Caicedo and Cucurella, like clenched fists in your face, like have some of that. And I just thought it was really weird, like really strange aggression for people who used to play with one another. I don't think Madueke's done anything wrong at Chelsea. He kind of just left because he wasn't wanted and Arsenal signed him up. But there was this really weird sort of, passive aggressive. Well, it's not very passive, it's just aggressive.
Yeah.
And given obviously Saka, who Mikel Arteta did talk about today in his press conference, saying that hopefully not too bad. We're going to see if he's fit for tomorrow or the weekend. But given Noni Madueke's performance at Ellen Road, are you expecting him to play tomorrow? And if so, what a chance, what an opportunity to shine.
Yeah, I think he will play. My take on this is, if Saka's a doubt at all, if there's any risk there, play Madueke. That's why we bought him. We're talking about an England international who's now getting his rhythm going. This is the first time this season that he's had a sustained run of games. He's only played like 600 Premier League minutes. So he's been judged very harshly on sporadic minutes and a bad injury as well. He missed 2 months of football, and that takes time to come back from. But it felt like Saturday was probably his most rounded performance. His deliveries from set pieces were absolutely phenomenal. Then his 1v1 threat, we know he's got, but there was one cross, a cut back into the box that he played into Havertz, and that was a really good block because he put it exactly where you would want it. So I feel that Madueke's starting to grow and he's starting to get used to how this team plays. The other thing I would add is his defensive work rate's massively improved. He's starting to know where to stand. He's really switched on going the other way. And these were all the criticisms that we had of him. The one thing that he needs to do is just be more focused and switched on at times. But again, I'm seeing that improving. So these things are why you see those ingredients to put them together. Go out, play him, and you see this picture. He's going to be pumped up. I think this was actually in the league game as opposed to the first leg.
I've just noticed, actually, Joshua, very, very kind of you to correct me there. Premier League game, they were so aggressive. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, if Noni Madueke is playing tomorrow, Arteta just needs to print this out and just whack it in his little cubicle in the dressing room.
That's why I would play him. I think he's going to be pumped up. He's going to be ready to go. I do understand why they're a bit annoyed with him, because he did engineer the move during the Club World Cup when he was playing, and Maresca said that he didn't want him to leave. So he was coming off the bench, he was starting some games, and he left after the semi-final. So that's another reason why I really love him. All that backlash about him signing, all the abuse he got, he gave up a Club World Cup winners medal to just sign for Arsenal and go on holiday for 2 weeks. So it wasn't as if he needed to do the deal at that point. He just wanted to sign for Arsenal. So yeah, I think this is a chance. Let him go and show Chelsea why he came to us, why he wanted to play for this team. And that for me is all the motivation he's going to need. And we know Havertz loves playing against them as well.
Indeed. Vive Vlad says, I hate that club so much. I mean, look, just on Noni, I think this is perfectly set up. And I would say, if Noni Madueke is playing tomorrow, Arteta just needs to print this out and just whack it in his little cubicle in the dressing room. add, and everyone who's watching, and have been watching for years will know how much I love Saka. But there is an argument to suggest that Bukayo's output hasn't quite been at that level. And with Noni Madueke being accredited the goal, that's going to be great for his confidence from Saturday. He got the assist for Zuma Mendy, and he's the sort of player that it doesn't matter whether he shanks it into Rose or whether he twats it top bins, he will keep going and going and going at the fullback. And I think he could be a really, really useful player tomorrow. So I'm hoping Noni Madueke starts. I'm hoping Noni uses this to kind of fuel the fire in his sort of, mindset and belly and whatever the phrase is. And I hope he goes out and does the business. It's a great opportunity to shut that lot up and to basically sink them. And that is what I'm looking forward to in terms of Noni Madueke. So let's take a look at starting lineup thoughts and chat. Let me know what you guys would do. Give me your starting 11s. First question, Eberechi Eze. Again, we discussed it on the Loose Cannons last night. 60 plus, £68 million signing. Has played 12 starts and 7 appearances off the bench in the Premier League this season with 4 goals, a hat-trick, of course, against the Spurs. What have you made of his time at Arsenal, and are you expecting him to maybe play tomorrow night?
I hope he plays tomorrow night. I want Eze getting more minutes. I don't really understand why he's played so little football over the last, not on 6 weeks now. But I thought he was really good against Kairat. He was one of the most progressive players on the pitch in that game. Second half, superb. But I really want to see him on the pitch. I think Trossard's purple patch is coming down end a bit. Although he was quite good on Saturday, that ball through for Gyökeres was superb. But I think Eze has just an extra layer of quality that Trossard doesn't have. As good and smart as he is, Eze's got something special. And I would like to see him used on the left. I would like to see what he can do with a bit of space to roam. Similarly, I think Odegaard's got a point to prove. I wouldn't mind seeing him have a couple of games on the bench and actually really grab a shirt back. But I really hope Eze plays more. I think for the most part, he's been quite good. The hat-trick was huge. The game against Bayern, superb. He got the winner against Palace. There's been moments this season where he's been really good. And I'm hoping that he's almost been held back slightly ahead of a big kind of February to May.
Well, Arsenal fans are split. Sorry, guys. Hope he doesn't play. He's a liability. Ooh, looking like a Pepe site. Tony, come on, behave. But listen, I respect people's opinions, and there are some people who aren't moved by Eze. There are some people who are quite happy with his output, and there are others who are probably, the jury's out. And what we do know about Eberechi Eze is that you always come strong in the second half of every domestic season. So let's hope that is the case. Right, let's have a look at starting lineup. So first question for you, and this is maybe a bit controversial. Kepa, do you keep him in as the cup goalkeeper, or do you bring in David Raya?
I want to win this competition. I'm playing David Raya. Kepa made 2 mistakes in the first leg, and I'm just going with Raya.
I have to agree, mate. I have to agree. It was again a topic of conversation last night, and someone sort of said, "Well, yeah, but Arteta's made a gentleman's agreement with Kepa." No,
don't care.
It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Do you remember Petr Cech?
Yeah, yeah, I do indeed. But I just feel now, we have to progress in this competition. I must be honest. Wayne's probably watching. The League Cup has never been something that really sort of gets me out of bed. I struggle to get excited about it, but now we're here and now we're halfway through. We have a chance to get into the final and hopefully to, deliver a knockout blow to potentially City. That to me is going to be hugely important psychologically and maybe for, the catalyst for this team winning a trophy. And I think he's got to go as strong as he can tomorrow. So, and Kepa's, future is not guaranteed. He might leave in the summer and then what? So exactly. Raya has to start. And that's exactly what Joshua is saying. So Raya in goal. Kepa for this game, though, says V Vlad. Raya if we get to the final. And yes.
That's what I was just going to say to you. If it was the final, who would you be picking? So
Raya all day long.
Exactly. So why would you take the risk if there is a difference between these two keepers? I would rather be safe and go with, in my opinion, the best keeper in the league right now.
I think so. 100% Rice is Zampalash. Playing Raya will give Chelsea a boost, Karen. Don't understand that. Please do explain, my friend. Very interested to hear your thoughts on that. Okay, so we're both going for Raya in goal, it would seem. Defensively, this was the lineup last time we played at Chelsea, but of course, at the weekend against Leeds, we saw Timber at right back, Calafiori at left back. What are you doing at the back four, Ad?
If he's fit enough to start Calafiori, I think he's just phenomenal. As tempted as I would be to rotate the centre backs, I think you go with that pairing, Gabriel and Saliba. And I honestly don't care at right back because I think the two of them are both so good. And it, Ben White is strong defensively. He's not as good 1v1 as Timber is, but he gives you something added in the final third, which we saw in the first leg with his assist for Gyökeres. So for me, and his goal. So for me, Ben White's probably earned the right to start this game, actually, but we will see who Arteta goes with. What are you thinking?
I don't know if my kids are screaming and terrorizing each other or what. They should be in bed. Sorry, ladies and gents, boys and girls, very distracted there. I'm sorry if you can hear the screaming. It's been a long time since I've done that. What I would say is I think Gabriel Saliba have to start, although I wouldn't have any qualms with Christian Mosquera stepping up. I actually have no issue with Piero Hincapié playing tomorrow at left back. I think he's a little quicker than Calafiori, but Calafiori is just a much better footballer. And maybe we wait for Calafiori the weekend. Sunderland, obviously, on Saturday. Big game for us. And right back, yeah, I think you're right. I think Timber could do with a rest. So, why not Ben White? Ben White, the Emirates, and I think he got the assist for Kai Havertz against Kairat with a lovely ball down the flank. Yeah, I'd quite like to see it. I would quite like to see that. So, Ben White for me, Saliba Gabriel, and Piero Hincapié, and we've both overlooked Miles Lewis-Skelly. So that's interesting. Midfield three. What are you doing? I mean, do you have any suspensions? No, Marino's obviously injured and not in contention for the rest of the season. What are we doing with Ødegaard, Zubimendi, and Rice? Ødegaard, of course, dropped for Leeds. Does he come back in after an impressive cameo?
I would play Rice, Zubimendi, and Eze.
Ooh, Eze in the 10? Or sort of
left yeah, play him. Get a bit of freedom in that midfield. Get it moving. And that's kind of what we saw at the weekend. We saw Havertz not locked to the right pod. And when Ødegaard came on, he was more free to move across the pitch as well. And I would like to see Eze get that as well. So yeah, I think that could be a really strong midfield trio.
Sam says Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel Calafiori with Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze in the middle. Noni Madueke, Gyökeres, and Martinelli will come onto that. Aidan says he agrees with Adam. Very few of you are going to disagree with him. Adam's got such great ball knowledge. Woo says, so unusual. I find myself disagreeing on 2 counts. I'm not worried in the slightest about Eze, he says, and 100% would put in Kepa. There we are. Okay, well, look, in midfield, I would also play Eze. I think it's time. I think it's time we unleash Eze. It's a cup competition. We're at home. It's a London derby. He will have played in these fixtures, and he's physically, I think, more robust at the moment than Ødegaard. We've left out Christian Norgard. I don't know if he's fit, but again, he might be on the bench. But Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze, that is a very, very good 3. So all that's left now is your forward line. What are you doing? As DZ Rascal says, Kepa, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Norgard, and Rice with Eze, with Saka, Gyökeres, and Martinelli. What are you doing up top?
I think I'm keeping Gyökeres in the team. I think he earned it after his goal in the first leg, his goal in Milan. Performance all round against Leeds, I think, was one of his best. Because they had 2 big physical centre backs up against him, and he held the ball really well. And just a really strong performance. I think he's earned the right. The competition is Havertz or Jesus. I don't like Jesus from the start. I don't think he gives you enough physicality or intensity. And I worry playing Havertz 3 games in a row after being out for a year. That's a big ask, especially after quite a physical task against Leeds. So on another day, I probably would have started Havertz in midfield for this game. But I just don't want to risk that. So I'll go Gyökeres, Madueke, assuming Saka's out, and then Trossard, because I like having one ball handler who can give you a bit more control on one side, and a runner on the other. And I think that's what Trossard and Madueke give you. If Saka was starting, I would maybe go with Martinelli on the other side, because I think he's another one that's gone underrated this season. He's quietly having quite a good season, even though he's had some league games where he's been quite poor.
Josh says Noni, Gyökeres, and Trossard. 33-5 says Madueke, Gyökeres, Martinelli. That's a three that I think I'd go for. I'd go Noni, Madueke on the right-hand side. I'd go Gyökeres up top for all of the reasons that you've said. You know, he deserves it, I think. And as long as he's fit and doesn't need a rest, I think we've both overlooked Kai Havertz, but I think you made a really excellent point. 2 starts in a row, 45 minutes against Kairak, 60 minutes against Leeds. Arteta said that he is fit. Maybe he does start. I don't know, but certainly coming off the bench, no problem with that at all. Just before we take predictions and ask the final question around who needs the win more, Rafinha or Arteta, here are some of the highlights from Mikel Arteta's press conference today. He talked about no fresh injury concerns, but has got to wait to find out the severity of Bukayo Saka's injury after he limped off in the warm-up at Ellen Road. He said he was better, but we need to see how he responds before we make a decision. Doesn't look like it's something too serious. It could be available tomorrow, or he could be available for the weekend. He confirmed Mikel Merino's foot fracture injury. He's got to go through a procedure, needs some surgery. He's a big player for us, but he's going to be out until likely the end of the season with a very rare injury, which I thought was quite interesting. Then he talked about Arsenal and how he might be looking at every opportunity in the market, but of course the window has shut and gone and we've not done anything, and that's fine. That's fine. Arteta is anticipating Ethan Nwaneri to obviously stay at Marseille, and for the right reasons. There was no recall option. And then on Chelsea, he sort of closed by saying that we go day by day in the competition. We go day by day and competition by competition. Tomorrow we've got home advantage. We've got to beat a really good Chelsea team. And he was very complimentary to Liam Rafinha, saying that he's doing a very good job and all that sort of stuff, which brings me on to my last slide and last question before we take predictions from the chat. Wembley awaits, but who needs this trophy more? Mikel Arteta is obviously going after the big prize. All eyes on the big prizes, but he hasn't won a trophy since obviously the FA Cup. Liam Rafinha, very much the underdog. Jury's out. LinkedIn Liam. Lots of people sort of mocking him for, including myself. I'm not gonna try and be disingenuous. But he kind of needs something to kind of show that he's worthy of being at this level. What's your thoughts?
I think Arteta needs this trophy more, because Rafinha's just walked into this job. This isn't even his team. He's building an identity at Chelsea right now. It's not even similar to Arteta at Arsenal with that FA Cup win. He is 6 games in. He's so fresh in this job that I think if they win this competition, it's going to be another thing to bash Arsenal with. And I agree with you. I would have been happy to go out of this competition at the quarterfinal, but I think once you reach the semi-final, you have to go on and win it. So it's a competition that doesn't get me excited. But once you're here, I think you have to go and win it. It's one extra game at this point. So it's for me, one that I think will give us belief. All the things that are used against Arsenal, bottlers, no silverware, all that money spent. We hear every fan base sing it at us every time, second again, all of this. We can point to everything that we've done, what we've achieved, how good the team is. Until we've got silverware, that's always going to be valid, because to the mainstream football fans that aren't like me and you, who are obsessed, who spend our lives outside work, going to games, talking to fans, doing podcasts, the works, they listen to the Jamie Carragers and Gary Nevilles of the world. And that's the only way you can shut these guys up, is by winning silverware, going and getting a trophy, and showing your medals, because that's what football's all about at the end of the day. No one really wants to say, "Oh, but we've gone from 8th to 2nd 3 times. We've got the Champions League semi-finals. Great." But the next step for fans, for the manager, for the players is winning something. And that's why I think this is so important. Chelsea also won 2 trophies last year. It's only 5-6 years since they won the Champions League as well. So we need to get back to winning ways. We need some trophies. And I think this will catapult us to the league, and then that'll catapult us to the Champions League, and we'll be lifting the treble in May.
I've always said it. I rate the Carabao. It is an elite trophy. Oh, hang on a second. Mr. Carabobbins is here. Wayne says, apologize to me. Say it louder, he says. Yeah, Wayne. All right, you win this one. You win this one. Okay, let's get thoughts on the predictions tomorrow. So, Ad, tell us how you think the game is going to go. Where do you think the game is going to be won or lost? To leave with your prediction as I ask the chat.
I think it's the midfield battle. Caicedo, Enzo, and depending on where Palmer plays, that's where Chelsea can do the most damage. It's where they've got the best players. It's also where I would argue we've got some of our best players as well. And it's probably about us not making stupid mistakes because let's face it, as you said, it was a 4-1 game in the first leg, but stupid mistakes have made it a 3-2. So no stupid mistakes and we win this game. But I do think the midfield battle will decide it. I think we can more than win it.
I hope so. Before I come to your score, a couple of quick things. Let me have your score predictions, the leg score tomorrow night. I'll do the quick arithmetic in terms of who might win or lose. Paul James says, I'd like to win tomorrow. Anything less is a massive disappointment. Charlie's here. Evening, mate. Charlie from Patreon. Charlie, I'm going to message you. I've got one spare single for tomorrow night. You can have it, my friend. I will send you the details. If you can send me your membership details, please. Another plug for the Patreon community. Hand of Arsenal is also in the Patreon community. You guys are missing out. And David says, my bad on the age drop on the loose cannons. It was a compliment. Yeah, David, you naughty bugger. He put in the chat that I was 60 years old or something like that. And everyone believed me. And he's saying he blames Wayne. Yes, everyone now thinks I'm a 60-year-old man going on the Loose Cannons podcast. So scoreline, Ad, before you give that away. Mohammed says 4-0 to the Arsenal on the night. Shix says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Manny says 2-2, so a 5-4 on aggregate. V Vlad says 2-0 to the Arsenal on the night. Rice and Big Gabby Magalhaes. Jason W14 says 2-1 and 3-0 in the final. It won't be easy, says Mikey. We must be strong. AFC 777, welcome to the show. 2-1 to the Arsenal. Gyökeres and Trossard with the winner. A couple of 2-1s here, which is really great. Whole milk. Chris Hodgson, welcome, Chris. Hope Dad's better. Another Patreon member, thank you for your generous support to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. It says 2-1 with Gyökeres, and we haven't even said it. Excuse me, boss. So go on, Ad. What's the score for you?
Last time I was on here for a preview was the Villa game, and I called it correct 4-1 Arsenal.
Did.
So yeah, I want to go 3-1 Arsenal. I don't see a way that we lose this game. I'll be absolutely distraught if we do. Well, what are you thinking?
I think Arteta's going to go strong, and I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to score first, and once it's sort of 4-2 on aggregate, I think Chelsea's heads will go, and then hopefully the floodgates will open and we'll get maybe one or two more. So I'll go. What did you say? 3-1. 3-1. I want to say the same. I'll go 2-0. 2-0 tomorrow night. Wayne says, I hope it goes to penalties down the other end so you can't see them. Of course, I sit north back lower. Charlie says, thanks a bunch for sorting that. FK, you're a legend. No, mate. Thank you for supporting the channel. Part of the membership benefits, you get access to match tickets every now and again. Paul says, a clean sheet tomorrow is my minimum expectation. We're going to beat 10-man Chelsea. We're all prepped for a red card. And we pray for no more injuries. There we are. Listen, that's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. So we've covered the Arsenal women. Said a very big thank you and congratulations to them for being so magnificent. We've talked about February, some big games coming up across all competitions for Arsenal, but only 5 games. It's a very short month, but it allows us, this is the first February in about 830 years where you've got 4 Saturdays, 4 Sundays, 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 days of every week, like to perfection. It's insane, huh?
That's insane.
You didn't know that? There you go.
I want to tell my wife that and sound really clever.
Yeah, do it. I mean, I'm hoping it's true. I read it on socials and I've just taken it, nabbed it as my own. But listen, it's nice. The players are going to get some sort of rest. And it happened in 2015. There you go, Aidan. Thanks for raining on my parade. But there we are. Listen, it's a big game tomorrow. So if you are there, Dave is there. Charlie will be there. Courtesy of Patreon, which is fantastic. If you're going to be there, sing until your lungs hurt. Be there in red. Bring your colours. It's going to be a cold, wet night in North London. So hopefully a very enjoyable one for us. I don't want it to go to extra time. Don't want it to get to penalties. I just want to get the job done. And see you later, Chelsea. If anybody wants to follow Ad, he is available at Adam Keys _ Adam, tell us about your show.
So yeah, I'm Arsenal Therapy on YouTube as well. So wait until after the Chelsea game before you go on because YouTube took my latest video down, unfortunately. But
How come?
Copyright. So yeah, need to change my format. But yeah, if you want to check out some of my videos, it's kind of tactical breakdown stuff. And you can follow me on Twitter, where it's kind of a bit of the same. And appreciate anyone that wants to drop me a follow on there.
Do
thank
it.
you for having me.
Follow ad, because he puts so much time and effort into his content, and it really is excellent stuff. And I find myself learning stuff from watching your videos. So top content, that says Anajit. Do go and follow him. Come on, you Gunners, let's go. So that's it. We're gonna leave it there. Look after yourselves. Sleep well. It's the Emirates tomorrow night. A cold, wet, and windy night in North London. It's going to be a game, great game at the carpet. Liam Rossinia's men come up against Mikel Arteta's mighty Reds. I think we're going to do it. Take care. Sleep well. Bye for now.